and I start paddling in the first try. I start paddling, and when I align to the direction of the waterfall, I have all this scouting. I know the waves. Know the position, but for some reason I have a bad feeling in that first try. I just stop.
It's always fun for me, but frankly also a bit intimidating when I don't know my guest at all. I try to rehearse in my head some potential courses that the conversation may go, but I wasn't prepared for the direction my guest today took it, offering up messages of community, hope, love, and responsibility, making discussing the controversial subject that sparked his rise to fame kind of pointless to talk about. I hope you can take some time to enjoy hearing from someone with a unique perspective on the sport and on life. But first, enjoy a not so unique word about my sponsors who help keep the show going. One of today's sponsors is Four Corners Riversports. Four Corners Riversports is located in Durango, Colorado. They're a full-service paddle sports retail and rental store. If you're looking to get on the water, look no further than Four Corners Riversports. Call them at 970-259-3893 or visit their website at www.riversports.com. This episode is also sponsored by Taylor Barker with the group real estate Steamboat. I've known and paddled with Taylor for years, and he brings passion to everything he does. Steamboat Springs is a wonderful town with the Yampa River running right through it and has a vibrant and friendly boating community. If you're thinking of making a move to the Steamboat area or purchasing a vacation home, be sure to get in touch with Taylor. He's happy to give you a lay of the land, the real estate market, and to help find the perfect property for you. You can reach him at 336-314-4353 or by email at taylor@brokerintheboat.com. You can find those links in the show notes. This podcast is being featured on paddlinglife.com. Paddlinglife.com does a wonderful job of finding all the most interesting happenings in the world of paddling and bringing them straight to you in the form of news, interviews, articles, videos, and more. Check out paddlinglife.com. Okay, on to the show. I'm excited today to bring on a guest who has a unique perspective in the whitewater kayaking world. You might recognize his name from when he was thrust into the international spotlight when he broke the world record for the highest waterfall descent in a kayak in 2009. In the process, he put Brazil on the map as a top destination for potential waterfall descents, as well as a place for running whitewater rivers in general. But his accomplishments extend well beyond waterfalls. He represented Brazil in the World Freestyle Championships in Ottawa in 2007. He was recognized as Adventurer of the Year by Outside Magazine Brazil in 2009. His relationship with Ben Stookesberry led to subsequent international kayaking expeditions, and through his growing notoriety in Brazil, he starred in a syndicated Brazilian reality TV program called Kayak, in which he, Ben Stookesberry, and Chris Korbulik were filmed on kayaking adventures around the world, transforming the perception of the sport in Brazil. So today, he's joining me from Brazil to talk about all of this and more. So welcome to the show, Pedro Oliva.
Hey, thank you so much. I'm emotional here about listening my presentation. Thank you so much to inviting me for that special moment. And you tell me about Ben, about all this kayak community. I'm super happy to share my perspective, my stories, and especially my message about, I'm from the older generation. Now we have the new generation, and my main goal here is help to this new generation to found the way to help us to doing something nice for the rivers, for the environmental, and make our minds healthy and grow the sports in the best way you can do. And thanks so much for inviting me. I'm super excited. I have my heart here and a lot of emotion in that moment, sincerely. And I'm super grateful about all the kayaking give to me in life. I still live in the road. I live in my trailer. I have a kayak in my blonde. Now I my focus is more in environmental projects. The last 8 months, I'd spend my times in the tribes, exactly around and the Sacre River and the Ucharity Falls, where we have that possibility to broke the record world record. But my main goal now, and that's my message, when for activity goes like that, we have the universe have to give you this. Know your ego, not follow just for be famous or successful. And our community, in my perspective, have to work together because the rivers is our big icon. Like save the rivers, help the tribes, have help the environmental, and kayaking is the best tool. It's a very friendly sport to open doors in all over the world. And Kevin, I have a very interesting story in life because every day I have a new adventure. Always, every day I have something magical to tell.
Hmm.
And one special moment in life when I'm 13 years old, I'm super young, before start kayaking, and when I'm in class and the school, I sleeping and the table in the middle of the class because in that time I dedicate my life to Olympic gym. This sport you can do it like a lot different things. This make super like strong kids and super. I learn a lot stuff, but I train it every day, like 6 days per weekend, 5 hours. And the
Well,
next morning, I super tired and I sleeping in the class, and the teacher coming and say, "Pedro, wake up! Come on, pay attention." And I look around right after the first time somebody show me the world and say, "Oh, we have around 200 countries, seven continents." When you saw the map, now we have a Google Earth, but in that time we have just papers. And when I
sure.
wake up, the teacher asking me to pay attention in the class, I just feel like we have a seven continents, all this world to explore. What are I doing here? What
Oh,
are you
wow.
doing here inside?
At 13.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
bring my notes and I start write my dreams in that moment. And I start and in the end I have a 15, 50, 15 dreams. And one of my dreams I write, I want visiting more than 15 countries. I want to visit the seven continents. I want be the best in something. In that time,
Wow.
I don't know what sport, but I want to be the best in the world, like world champion or something like that in my life. And
Yeah.
I want plant trees. I want write a book, building a house, and a lot of dreams. And when the life start giving me this dream back, because the universe, when you write, that's the really nice message for the youngers. Oh, doesn't matter how age you have, write write dreams. Not like in the phone, like in the paper. Real,
Mhm.
bring your pen, because if for some reason these words, this dream, your mind bring this like memorize, the universe start to give you. And very interesting, I'm 42 years old and I achieved 17% of my dreams. My big dreams coming, but a lot of these things happen. And now I have a 15 6 or 15 7 countries in my list.
Oh, wow.
One the most beautiful expedition I have by kayaking is the in Antarctica and the
Mm.
south of the planet. Is
Mhm.
amazing story I have there, and there I complete the seven continents. And
Oh,
now I
wow.
just keep going. No, when you follow your dreams, your life is not easy. It's more hard achieve your dreams. But
Yes.
when you wake up every day, keep your dreams in mind, and you have your goals, doing your best, believing in your dreams, believing in your ideas, and most important, align your dreams with something good for the planet,
Mm,
something good for the next generation, something good for the environmental, for help peoples. Because in the end of the life, I think when you look back, you feel like, what I do in my life? I spend my time for just make money, work in the factory, or what our my passion is in that. And because in the end of life, I think you have your feelings when you're doing something special. You finish your life and you have this good feeling. Oh, I doing my best. I help, and I leaving my legacy for next generation in positive way. And
mm.
that's the beginning of my life. I think include my when I'm super young. I'm crazy from the beginning. But the stories my mom tell me when I'm 4 years old, 5 years old, is crazy, and that's because I think I found my sport in kayaking. And
You found your sport, found your people.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
that's a beautiful way to kick things off. I love all of that, and amazing that you had this dream and are have fulfilled much of it and are still fulfilling it today.
yeah,
Um, yeah. So, I mean, uh, one of the reasons I'm excited to have you on, among other things, is that you have this really unique perspective of kayaking in Brazil. And we, as kayakers tend to be pretty well traveled. And, you hear a lot about people traveling to South and Central America. There's Costa Rica, obviously, is popular, Chile, Peru, Ecuador, but actually, it's surprisingly little you hear about people traveling to Brazil. And so I think just maybe starting off to share what it's like, what it was like to learn kayaking in Brazil. Like, how did you make that transition from the dream to being introduced to the sport? And what was it like trying to learn in Brazil?
yeah. Yeah, I start my career in the rafting company. I'm
Okay.
when I'm 14 years old. I start study administration in the technical school, and the school give you the opportunity to find a job. It's super young because you have to work and study at the same time. And all my friends found a place to work in the banks and the in the marketings, or in the business business world. But my friends, all my best friends, tell me, Pedro, you have to find something different because otherwise you freaking out inside of the one bank you want to. And one of my friends, his name is Vinicius, he found a poster, a sign in the school in that say, oh, we've tried to find people, a guy like traveling, like walking, doing trekking, so like outdoor sports, you know, all these things having that poster. My friend me bring to there, say, Pedro, you have to, this is for you. And I have an interview, in that job in the next weekend. And then after a weekend, the guy, the owner of this that company, called me and say, hey, Pedro, we select you coming to start work with us. And I arrived there, and he say for me, the first thing he say tell me is that, Pedro, we select you because nobody more coming. We have just you. This is the only option we have. I tell me, I myself, oh, nice. I'm not super excited to listen that it's the only option, but he not moving my emotional. I'm super motivated. I just keep want to keep going, and he give me the job to work like in finances in the
Hmm.
office. And the 2 weekends he canceled. He said, Pedro, you have to work outside, and I start work to guide peoples to the mountains in trekking for climbing. And few months after the summer season start, the rafting company invited me to work there. And
Hmm.
the first time, that rafting company bring me to the river. When I start walking and paddling in a rafting boat, I feel like a fishing back to the ocean.
Hmm.
I have this sensation like, oh, this is my place.
This
I
is your
start
home.
running like a crazy, climbing the rocks and jump in the river. And all the guides, the experienced guys in that day say, Pedro, stop, because I'm too forward. Everybody in the back say, Pedro's crazy. He's gonna die. But this is the I feel like in my world, no, in my place, water and rocks. And then the next after this, around for 6 years, I work in that rafting company. I have amazing time in that in the Paraibuna River and the city calling São Luís do Paraitinga. I feel like I wanna cry just remember how special that time for me in life, all the things I started learning. But in one point, one guy buy a kayaking there, start paddling kayaking with the rafting. Andreas, he's from Germany. He's in that time he's like 40 years old, and he invited me to start kayaking. And I my first raft in kayaking, in that time the guys tell me is this a class 5, but for us now it's class 3. But in the
Okay.
beginning, my first rapid,
Wow.
and then after this, the
How did
government,
it go? How did the first one go?
upside down, of course, and I swim and I shock in the rocks, stuck in the middle of the river, but I feel like super fun, like.
You were undeterred.
Yeah, and
You loved it.
it's interesting because the river coming flat and go straight the waterfall. This is my first one, super hard for the moment. But we are in our habitat. I think that's
Mhm.
the word. We are in our habitat. That's
Yeah.
because everything coming nice in the for the last 20, 20, 20 years now, more 25, 27 years, 27 years in the river. And then very interesting because I start paddling kayaking and I drop all the rapids in the river, and after this the rafting company is fighting. This is this have give you a lot trouble for the tourism because the ego about this company. These guys want to be the owner of the river. Just I can do rafting here. This is the old mentality. And in
Mm.
one point, the guy's not giving more permission to go kayaking by myself in that river because it's
Really?
very how to say, when a preservation area, I have all these laws, all this crazy mentality about nobody can go in here. These guys want to control the river. Just see few people have permission. In
Hmm.
that moment, my mind just not makes sense, and I think the guys fight for that river. How many rivers we have in the planet,
Right.
and you have no permission, and this is the beginning when I decide start traveling and follow my dream about visiting 15 countries.
Hmm.
And right after, and the first I start traveling in Brazil, and before in my mind coming, before I go out of Brazil, I have to know all Brazil because I just imagine I'm in Canada or I'm in Peru. Somebody asking me something for Brazil, about Brazil, I don't know, and I
Yeah.
said I have to know my
You
country
have to know your
first.
country first.
Yeah,
Where was this area where you learned to kayak? What part of Brazil was it in?
my first place is the Paraibuna River, is near of Ubatuba in the coast,
Okay.
between São Paulo and Rio, and
Oh, okay. So
yes,
the eastern part of the country along the coast.
exactly.
Mhm.
And that's my first. And I start traveling Brazil. I visit all the states, work doing these adventure events or always in for work. I never in my life work for like for holiday. This is another interesting thing. I traveling a lot, but always kind of work or doing something a project or environmental or social or for the brains or I never. I hope in the future I have a, this time for a holiday with my family, but I still try to do that. But after
Was it?
this, my first trip is to Ecuador, in
Yeah.
2005, and I catch a bus in São Paulo, and I by bus I cruise Bolivia, Peru, and my goal is in Ecuador. This is my first international trip by bus. We have a 500 kilograms in equipment, two rafting boats, two kayaks, helmets, life jacket, and paddles. Crazy adventure to bring all this stuff
Oh, I'll bet.
to Ecuador and by bus, and I have a super difficult
Wow.
story.
And you were traveling with other people?
Is my friend David Stefan. Is one of the first kayaker. He's a really good play boater in the time. He now live in the United States. He's my best friend in that time. He accept to doing this crazy trip. We have in that trip, we have a 500. I never forget that number. 500 kilograms in equipment and $500. And we and we active Ecuador. Arrived there with no money, just water in the pocket, no money for it. And Bolivia, some people's rob our camera. Our project
Oh
is make a
no.
documentary about that trip, but our first stop, we lose everything about
Oh,
cameras and all stuff. But we keep going, and at the end of 10 months in Ecuador, we have the best story because we coming from nothing. You arrive there. Our friend, supposed to be our good friend, invited us to bring this equipment. When we arrive there, he's sailing everything and disappear. And we stay
oh
alone
no.
in Quito, but we buy a phone, a cell phone, make a
Yeah.
personal card, and the first day we start found a job, the best tourism company, in that name Alfredo Menezes calling Ecuador Adventure give our to us a amazing job, and we start traveling with beautiful peoples. We visiting Amazonia, Cotopaxi,
Oh
Pastaza
wow.
River, and after 10 months we make a good money and have a experience in Ecuador. I think it one is the best place because it's a small country in around 300 kilometers. You can visit all these different biodiversity.
Sure.
Ben is still paddling there, and I have that amazing. My first international kayaking trip is to Ecuador, and I have a hardest trip. All kayaking trip is hard, but also in the end, I have this amazing story, and I just keep going year after that, and now I'm here with you.
Well, that's incredible. So you went from everything falling apart to everything coming together by the end of it.
Yeah,
It's amazing how so many stories are like that, where it just if you stick with it, if you have faith, and you work hard at it, things come together.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just keep going. Keep your mind positive because some days you're very sad, disappointment. Especially in the kayak marketing, it's not like all the other sports have a big companies, and it's very difficult to find a way to survive, to make money, to find money to doing your
Yeah.
dreams. But that's because the patient, our proposal, your mission, when you align what I want for my life, and when you have this in line, it's very interesting. The universe give you back,
Hmm.
giving more and more and more, and then you are try to be better person every day, because in one day you're doing something is not good, but in the next day you think, oh, I want to grow, I want to be a better person. The universe give you open the doors again, sometimes close a lot doors, but when the life close doors, it's just the sign to you understand is not that the way. You have to turn around and find another way, because life tell you, oh, for you is the best way. Now is that one. You want this, but go in here because it's better.
Hmm.
This, I think, something our intelligence, coming just about mind, our heart and
Mm,
our stomach know the future.
mm,
But for sometimes, for some reason, you not understand the message. And now I'm very connected about heart, about the stomach, and the mind work together and feel. No, is no the words when you talking maybe make us confused, but our sensations is no way to forget or always our sensation tell 100% is the truth.
mm.
When you talking, probably you have a disconnection or not exactly understand the perfect, but our sensation, our heart, our stomach, this message is perfect. And when you
Mm.
feel that another person is better compared to talking, and I think this is our north right now, our map coming from sensations and not coming from the words.
Yeah,
And
that's interesting. I've heard this idea before that it's our unconscious mind that has the real power, and our intuition, and that your brain, even though it might not be what you're consciously aware of, your brain is doing all kinds of things, that it's figuring things out and taking inputs from the world, and that's really what is the most powerful part of our brain. And I think we almost see that in kayaking, right? Where sometimes your best kayaking is when your brain turns off, the conscious part. You're not thinking about it, you're just doing it. Uh,
feel the river. That's the.
yeah.
I think this is coming my career. I'm not the best. My technique is sometimes not the best, but I'm with the water. I'm in the flow with the water, and this makes I'm still surviving some situations. And that's because I think when your intention, your mentality, your soul is clean, what the goals where you have there, I think this create a atmosphere, and we are part of the natural part of the river, and always something good coming.
Hmm.
And yeah, this is a one of the good message the outdoor sporting teaching us, not just kayaking, the mountains, climbing, when you fly, jumping from the mountains, diving. And a month ago, I'm in Austria with a lot athletes, all these good friends, the new friends. Part of the group is older, like around 15 years old. Many ones is younger. We work together in the event. Is some person, some guy just asking me, "Hey Pedro, you doing a check in the weather to see the how what's happening in the rain, or when you go to see in the computer or use all this app to see what's happening." And now I'm more old. I just tell him the truth. I never checking before because I go with my feelings, and
Wow.
always I found the rivers. I found the best weather in the place where is good for me. Because
Wow.
sometimes, and all in all life, I just follow the intuition.
I'm going to interject here to add a little context to Pedro's discussion. In the next section, he refers to Ben Stookesberry, who is one of the great expedition kayakers that he had a long relationship with that we'll discuss later. After that, he discusses Svalbard, which I'm certainly pronouncing wrong. Aniel Solstice recently did an expedition there, and created a film with Red Bull that was a really cool film. But actually, Ben and Pedro had visited there multiple times prior to that, and did a kind of similar expedition off of this iceberg in the Arctic Circle. And then lastly, Pedro is referring to Tyler Bratt, who ran Palouse Falls in 2009, which is currently the highest run waterfall in a kayak. And it was run shortly after Pedro had broken the waterfall record himself. These subjects are discussed in more depth later on in the interview. So back to Pedro.
And also when you paddling with Ben, for me is my best friend in life. One so far is I spend more time with him compare because many hours, many years, and he's very smart person. He know about geology, mathematics, physical, and he know all these things all over the world. He's a mastermind. No, just kayaking, but about culture, political things, and I'm
Yeah.
very lucky to have the opportunity to grow with him because now I'm like a research guy. I have all this base from coming from research,
Mm,
and when you combine this intuition and this ability about intellectual information, this combo is perfect, and that's
mm,
because our trips is super successful. We traveling a few years together and make more in 8 years or 10 years, 15 years ago. And now, one example, annual have that amazing trip to the North Pole to
hmm.
Svalbard,
Yeah.
and this the best way to doing that trip. Annual for me is a very example guy, not just for the kayaking because his mind about social things, about environmental. He's very humble person. I think the athlete is not about is the best athlete. It's about the best person, about the message. And I'm super happy when he's arriving in Svalbard, and I just think I'm there 15 years ago, and now
Yeah.
somebody activity our goal. I think I feel like special. Say, Ben is crazy. We there just now somebody have the power to go to that same place,
Do that
and
again. Yeah.
we are in the frontier at some
Uh huh.
moment, and that's make me feel like feel important, feel special for the world, for the
Yeah.
kayak community, make good example. That's the we talking about before the recording. That's the emotion. This is my trophy in life, I wanna be the best. When I achieve that goal to supposed to be active the road record, in that time we want represent the waterfalls, and we use the kayaking to bring the attention when
Mm,
you drop in the waterfalls, when you come into the news, when our photos go to the magazines or go to the TV shows, our our goals is promote the waterfalls, promote the
hmm.
rivers.
Hmm.
And one of the most special moments in life for me, I cry like a happy because right after Palusi Falls, Brad Tyler sent me an email, like in few words, and say, Pedro, thank you for Salto Belo. This gives me a motivation, giving me power to Palusi. And that time, my heart coming, oh, I'm part of the history.
Wow.
I help to move the sport. This is more important for me. Have the world road record.
Yeah.
And
Very
another
cool.
message coming with me like Rush Sturgis, Ben Marr, Brad Tyler, and many more, Chris, Ben, and many more guys in that time. I have that feeling we work together, not compete. I don't want to be the best. Our mission is about rivers, about waterfalls, about kayaking community, and that's I want motivation and give this example to the new generation. Just organize your mind to make your goals no for being just coming with the best or attention or about ego. Just think we are together in this. We work together. The river is the most important. The
Yeah.
waterfalls need our help, and let's work together in the good way because in that spirit, we can survive together. We can help to work together to the marketing, the kayak factories, all the brains grow together, and give that amazing example for the words about is the opposite about war. We
Mm-hmm.
this sport is the best way to show the planet we are together in that planet. The rivers connect to the oceans, all the water coming by rain, everybody's connected. And when you are humble in that side, I think you're happy. And it's very is kind of danger, when you coming older, like 40, 50. A lot of friends. I have many stories now. Two weekends ago, I lose another friend.
Mm,
Last year, one friend dying in Brazil in the river, another friend
mm,
dying flying in the mountains. And for some reason, I think you have to prepare your mind, the new generation, because when you older, you have to change your mind kind of because the goals change. Family, work, environment is more important, and you
yeah.
have to change your reference, be healthy, and your ego coming down and prepare to that transition because that transition is very scary. I know the reality about my friends. I don't want to talk too much about that because it's kind of delicate. It's very personal stories. But
Mm-hmm.
in that moment, I want guarantee and help all the another kayakers, the new ones, coming in your when you're coming older, you coming like healthy, and you have to know, and you when you put a lot of adrenaline in your body, you make that cycle in risk because when you stop, your
Mm,
body coming crazy and depressed and things
mm,
like that's coming, and now you will know that, and the time to share that information to prepare the next generation for have a better way, more safe and more comfortable because in my situation in that time is super hard, and I
mm,
think the younger is now coming more healthy in that
mm.
transition,
Yeah,
and
that's so cool.
yeah,
That's
Kevin.
yeah, no, that's a really good message. That idea that we have stages in life, and it's important to understand, to accept that there's stages, and that what you're doing at 20 is not going to go on forever. And then like sharing that information of how do people gracefully transition between those stages, because that can be really hard for anybody in any part of life. But I do want to rewind a little bit to talk about, because you mentioned Ben Stookesberry, who's just a at this point, probably when you met him, less so, but certainly today, he's one of the great expedition kayakers who's ever lived. Amazing person, amazing accomplishments, and that kind of that dictated a lot of your life, is that introduction to him. So how did you first meet Ben and get connected with him and start paddling and exploring with him?
Yeah, it's difficult for me talking about Ben because probably I'm the number one fan from here. I mean, I love him sincerely, deep of my heart. I love him so much, and in that way, I try to I look for everybody in the same way. Always I tried to go in the position with the others, and I never talking bad things from the peoples because everybody have your challenge. And Ben, I have just good things about him. He's a for me is a legend. He's a number one expeditioner person for me. All the rivers he did all over the world, all the language he talked, the way he cruised all this in Africa, in North Pole, in all South America, Americas, and all over the world. India, I have amazing trip in India with him, and I met him the first time in Ottawa, in Canada, in when the World Freestyle World Championship. It's the
Yeah.
first time also I met Eric Jackson. Eric Jackson is a very important person for me too. I have just amazing things. He gave me his own boat in 2008.
Oh wow.
Right. right before he start his summer trip, he tell to Danny, go bring my purple boat, give to Pedro. Danny tried to convince he to not give the boat to me. Danny, he's like 8 years or 9 years old at that time, super man. And he's giving me his own boat right before he tried his summer trip, and he started his summer trip just with a playboat in his trailer.
Wow.
And Ben and Eric Jackson I met in the same time. I met Ben in the Jackson's house in Canada, where
Mm,
Eric Jackson have his family. In that year is very special because I'm beside Eric Jackson for a few days. I'm training with him in the morning. I walk with him. He gives me food. He gives me place to stay. Like a son. He
wow.
adapted me in that moment because I don't have no conditions to stay in Canada. I have just my air flight ticket, and he give me everything and more. He give me a good example about family, about training. He wake up like 5 a.m. He's the first guy in the wave. He
Mm,
running in the middle of the day. He do exercise. He train again, and
mm.
he's a world champion when he's 44.
Yeah,
Imagine.
that's pretty incredible.
I'm still 42. Imagine he's 44. He's a world champion. He's
Yeah.
the man. And I met Ben in his house. In that time, he been working his hotel Charlie's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's doing all this. He's working the. I just say when it have a CDs and types. He is super old school films, but the best ones. Ah,
Oh yeah.
he doing like no big names,
Yep.
no no big names. One, two, and I met Ben, and they say, "Oh, I want to go to Brazil next year."
Mm,
and and let's doing that expedition together.
mm,
And the next year, just Ben arrived here with equipments. Ben bring a life jacket, gears for me, kayaking, and I have the first moment I have a good equipment because
mm.
before this I have this improvised equipment.
Oh wow.
One important name I have to remember here for Brazil is Michael Juarez, Michael Juarez. He live in Coloma. He have a rafting company now there. He's a half Brazilian and half American,
Mm.
and he's the first kayaker from the United States and coming to Brazil to paddling. And
Oh
he's
really?
the very special, important person to promote kayaking here. I
Mm,
have to tell his name, Michael Juarez. Thank you so much for all you doing. He's still working the rivers. He's still paddling, and he's the first guy have that new generation boats. They start doing a real class 5 and all this big stuff. And the before this is in Brazil, we know have that mentality. And
mm,
Ben start coming to here every year. Next year, 2009, we have this amazing moment together. Rafael Ortiz, the Mexican, the
mhm.
best paddling in the moment. He paddling for Red Bull. He's in that moment, 2009. I think Rafa is the name of the kayaking in the world because he started doing these big booths. He can booth everywhere where he's have his own style. He's the most magical guy in the moment. And Ben bring Rafa in 2009, and we start that amazing trip. For some reason, we Rafa have to come back to Mexico right before you drive into the north to Amazonia to the
Oh.
rivers, and we keep going the trip. And when we found this Salto Belo.
Okay, I'm going to interject again just to give a little bit of context to the next section. So a few amazing stories that Pedro actually shares about this period of time where he was chasing the waterfall record, and a lot of people were chasing the waterfall record at that time. And in the early 90s, the record was around 45 feet. Someone had run Celestial Falls. It kind of built up to around 100 feet in the early mid 2000s. And there were these little increments of getting a little bit over 100, getting close to 100 feet, a little bit over 100 feet. Ed Lucero set the record with Alexandria Falls at 105 feet. A few other people repeated that run. And then in 2009, the standing record was 108 feet, which was Cascade Falls by Paul Gamache. And so this was where they were at. So when Pedro starts talking about these numbers, it gives you a little context that a little bit over 100 feet was the most anyone had ever managed up until that point. Okay, on to Pedro's stories. These are great.
Kevin, I just remember a few stories here. I try to share that stories in a few seconds, in a few minutes.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
We know, and we have a few stories like that. In 2009, we arrived in Costa Rica. It's a city in Mato Grosso, south of Mato Grosso, and we tried to find the biggest waterfall to drop, and we found that waterfall. In that time, you have a 48 meters high
Oh, wow.
in Costa Rica, in south of Mato Grosso. And when I arrived there, we there for a few hours, and I decided to drop 48
Whoa.
meters. This is 2008,
Okay.
and Chris in have his position. All another kayaks found a place to make safe, doing a safe kayaking, and Ben coming with me to climb into the top, and we start organizing our equipment. And when I a few seconds to start paddling, the police arrive.
What? You're kidding
The
me.
police, somebody called to the police and say,
What?
"Oh, a guy got to suicidal in the waterfall." And the police bring us to out of the river and say, "You not can do that."
No
We ask,
way.
"Oh, this is a sport, we can do that, you know what you're doing." The police
Yeah.
say, "Sorry, but somebody call us, I cannot do a permission for you, I have, or you stop or you go to the jail, or what you choose." And the
Wow.
police bring you up. And I have a few ones like that. I go to the second story.
Wow. That's
One
crazy.
one time we are in Venezuela, and the Salto Cali. And the Venezuela is the waterfalls is so far, and that time we fly by helicopters and landing in the waterfalls, straight to the waterfalls. And we arrive in the Salto and 40 meters high, exactly around 40 meters.
Phew.
And we have all our crew there, the camera guys, the helicopter, and the safety. And I tell the guys, I go drop, and I'm inside of the kayaking. I'm in the radio, say, "Oh, I'm ready to go." And Ben say to the pilot, "Okay, start flying because we very in the middle of nowhere. The only way to arrive because no way to drive in Venezuela have many beautiful places like that. No roads. You have to
Hmm.
fly or walking for a month."
Hmm.
And the time I say I go start to paddling, the helicopter just broke it and not
What?
have no working. And the guy says, "Cancel, cancel, not go, go." This is the second story. I have
That's
just
crazy.
one more, and the guy stopped. We sleeping in overnight there, and another helicopter coming the next day, and I feel like, oh, God save me something. I think it's not the time, and we canceled the drop. But imagine the helicopter broke just in the second. The last interesting one is a waterfalls calling Registro Waterfalls in the Goiás in Brazil. That time is also is 2008, 2008, oh 07, around that, and 42 meters high. Registro. This waterfall is still there. It's amazing, and that's the most interesting. We there study the waterfalls. We understand what's happening off in this what the boil, the air you have in the water, the speed you feel like safe. And I have an interesting story because one dog, the dog a few weekends ago, he's just following the waterfall, and the dog survive, and the dog is still there, and this
No
give me
way.
this, oh, I think is we can do the same. The dog survive, I can
If the
survive.
dog can do it, I can do it.
Exactly. And I decide to go to the drop, and I'm in the kayak, and I like 100 meters on the top, and I start paddling in the current, but we have a curve before the drop. And we have a dam there, like for electricity, these dams for
Hmm.
producing energy.
A dam, yeah.
We imagine the river is high and you have a water. For some reason, in that moment, somebody closed the dam
You gotta be kidding me.
and the water go. We not came paddling, no have a water in the
What?
river. Like the kayak is just stuck like 20 meters from the waterfall. And I hope Ben one day bring all these stories together because he filmed me all these stories. He's there. Ben is the man for me from my life.
All
And
right.
three interesting stories. Huh?
These are these are crazy stories. I can't believe this. Actually, I've never heard this before.
Yeah,
I
Ben
have to
have
say,
all this footage. I hope he one day make a clip with
he
all
has
these
footage of
crazy
it.
things. Yeah.
I,
Sorry
I,
to
I,
make a curve in your conversation,
no,
but
this
just
is
remember,
that was an amazing
funny.
diversion.
Yeah.
That actually blows my mind.
We have another interesting moment here with Ben when Ben have this world record attempt in the Anacondas Falls.
Oh, right.
And yeah, I think it's around 35 meters, something like that. In that moment is the world record guarantee. Ben is super honest about measuring, about everything. He's always just super. He measure like in centimeters. He tried do your best ever, and he dropped the Anaconda Falls. In that moment is the road record attempt, but for some reason he lose his paddle. He the pool is super strong, a lot currents, and he not can make the row without his paddle because his kayak stuck in the border of the river, and he tried to make a row few times, but in the end he swim. And but for me, he's
Mm,
the world record guy in that moment,
mm,
because he
so
jumped
close.
the
Yeah.
waterfall, he doing the booth in the 3 meters more above, and the next year, Half Ortiz did the Anaconda Falls. The only guy, the
Oh,
Ben and he's the only two guys did this waterfall. The waterfall is still there. It's amazing. Few kayakers arrived to scouting, and there the good ones, and but never nobody can not doing this waterfall again. And Ben and Rafa make the biggest for me the big buff ever because he I don't know 33 or 30 meters far, and he
he boofed it.
fly buffet fly and land like flat
What?
there, but the boil is giant and no impact, and he coming out perfect with his paddle in the hands, like
Wow.
his hair don't have a water in the hair. Like Rafa is a magical.
Wow. I
He's
didn't know about that descent. That's
yeah.
Rafa Ortiz. Yeah.
Alfred is he's in this that moment is he I don't know right why, but I think Alexandre Falls the world record is not more that high, but he doing the best drop I ever seen in person, and probably was the most beautiful drop in the history. And all this story is interesting. Ben have all these footage, because he recorded everything. We use bring to Brazil the GoPro One. Imagine.
Oh, wow. The first one. That's awesome.
First one. And all this footage in that story is Ben have is magical. I don't have no words to explain how for me represent Ben. He's a superhero man. He one time when you talking about when we talk in the camp, like we walk in Tornigat Mountains in the Canada, for me is the most legendary classic trip I have with him because the river is just perfect. And but when one day there in the middle of the night, he just tell me, "Hey Pedro, the reason I love you and I love traveling with you." And I look to him and I ask myself, I don't know why. I'm not the best. I'm not tall. I'm not the most beautiful. I'm a Brazilian. I don't know why, man. And he say, just because you never say no. And then have these crazy ideas. He's look like he have ideas, and I don't know the limits. I just say yes, and we keep going, and all these magical things happen for us. And in Canada, and for me, the must.
In this next section, Pedro discusses an expedition to do a first descent of the Berryman River in Papua New Guinea. This was an expedition that Ben Stookesberry led, and there's a film about it that I'll link in the show notes that helps give you a visual of just how spectacular this area and this gorge is. Okay, here's Pedro.
My the iconic, the epic story for me ever. It's very hard for us because when I back from that trip, I think in my mind I have like a trauma. Everybody have a trauma, and you think like, oh, I stop kayaking. I don't want to
Mm,
do stuff like that anymore in the Barryman River. And the first
mm.
time we there twice with first just Ben, I, and Chris, and
Oh,
the
I didn't
second
know that.
time with Benny Marr with we make that movie calling Lock It In for the Red Bull TV when Red Bull launch
Yeah.
the TV Red Bull TV, but there we have a real challenge, the real big risk ever in our life. Probably, I think the most crazy kayak trip ever. And also, I don't know, we can come back there. I don't know if it makes sense do this again or for somebody because so hard to scouting. We just have a scout by helicopter in the middle of the Norway. We have this crazy geology, just the tribes, the real tribes in the middle of the way. This tribe have no contact with the civilization,
Hmm.
in Portuguese calling cannibals. Like these stories and the place,
Mm.
and when we start
Cannibals, is that the same word that you're
can
talking about where people eat other people?
yes,
Wow.
and you have earthquakes. When the in all in the same trip, earth
Earthquakes.
earthquake,
Wow.
earthquakes.
Uh-huh.
We have like volcano explosion. You know, and
Wow.
when you start try to scouting the waterfalls or the next rapid, one scouting take us for like 3 days and a half for just the
Whoa.
first curve, and
Whoa.
after this, we don't have no way to scout anymore. We have to paddling with no scouting.
It's just
I
so
think
hard to move through the jungle. Is that why it takes so long?
1,000 meters high with vertical walls. 1,000 meters.
Wow.
It's not vertical, it's a negative. We not can climbing.
So,
It's impossible. And we have these problems in our feet. The bacterians eat our it's just you lose it just in the it blows like super bad like this bacteria have in the caves.
yeah.
And our trip is very similar in the twice in these two opportunities with Ben and Chris. And Benny Mar saved my life one time there because I'm stuck in the raw. He coming behind me and he taking me out from the hall. And
Mm,
he's a really good play boater. He can do it by himself. The going out, we have a lot interesting stories there.
mm.
But the main story, we there for 10 days inside of the canyon. With we not can see the sky because it's very narrow the canyon, and the pressure with our minds is too heavy because every day somebody have to go decide go first, and you don't know what have in the next curve. Imagine our pressure. You don't know is you maybe it's a cave, maybe it's
Yeah.
a waterfall, or you can disappear and
Could
never
be a
come
death
back.
trap. Yeah.
In no way to go out. No, you're not can walking out of there. You have to go all the canyon down.
Wow.
It's like 50 kilometers, and
Phew.
but super hard. But the color of the water, the animals we see there, like crocodiles, fishes, and
Oh.
many interesting stories we have there, and that is the epic river for me, and the most hard one. And with Ben, this is Ben have a disability, to found the places where nobody been before.
He does have that
The
ability. Yeah.
the last places in the world to discover. Also, he did this in the North Pole in Svalbard. We are the first kayaker to sailing with sailing boat to there. You not like have a motorboat or a big boat. We just sailing for a weekend from Norway, and we arrive in these waterfalls coming from the glaciers. Is amazing. Ben found that place. Ben found Papua New Guinea. Ben always is a leader for us, and he's a leader guide me, and we work together to decide things and make our trips very successful. And I think that's the way to finish Ben moment, because for me he's like a superhero, or as a good friend, his brother and father. He's all in the same. I just want my very grateful to have this friend in life,
Hmm.
and I miss him a lot. I not see him, I see him like 2 years ago, I think,
Hmm.
and I hope we can doing trips together in that time right now. And he looked like a teacher for us, He's a very
Yeah.
special.
Yeah, those are beautiful words. Those are the last podcast I did. We talked about kind of the difference between there's being a good kayaker and there's being able to be a good expedition kayaker, and how there's so much more that goes into an expedition than just being a good kayaker. And Ben kind of has those skills off the chart. It seems to be able to accomplish the kind of things that he's done.
Yeah,
Um, let's Yeah, that's that trip on the Berryman River. There's a video. I don't know if people can still find that video on the internet, but I watched that a long time ago, and that just looked like so harsh but so beautiful. I don't think I've
yeah.
ever seen a place in the world that looks quite like that. It must have been a crazy
Yeah, I think you
experience.
can find in the Red Bull TV calling Lock It In. I
Okay,
have
locked
a
in.
few clips. I don't know. You have the documentary, all the documentary, but you have a few clips.
Okay.
But the film not represent exactly what's happening with us right there. But you have many stories like one day we rappelling like 100 meters wall, and in the end we have to do a sea launch to go in the river, but the sea launch is 30 meters.
Oh
Imagine.
God, that's
And
huge.
then say, "Oh, let's go, let's go." I tell him I not can do it. I think it's the first time I saw tell him no, I not can see lunch for him for here. And Benimar and Chris and Ben just put a rope behind my boat and rappelling myself. I'm the smaller guy. I'm the light one. I'm like the first. Saint Pedro
Yeah, yeah.
first.
Send the lightest person
That's
first.
testing the system. But when I arrive in the water, for some reason the rope stuck and make a nut or something like that, and the
Hmm.
rope not can coming out from the kayaking. I'm super lucky. The Jackson sent the wrong boat, sent three creek kayakers kayaking, big kayakings in one. In that time, I remember, I think it's calling superhero or hero,
Oh,
this
uh
small
huh.
kayaking,
Yeah, the hero, really short boat. Yeah.
super short. And the guy say, "Oh, Pedro is a short. He can stay with the short boat." And I'm lucky because in that time I have a knife and I can activate the
Oh,
rope
you
in the
could
back.
reach where it was attached.
Yeah, because the another boats we not can catch, and I catch the rope,
Oh,
and I
wow.
start paddling, screaming by myself. And the next
Oh,
rapid is like 4 or 5 just by myself, and disappear. And Ben coming, this the dark, the sun coming down, the
uh-huh.
night coming, and we sleeping in the different parts. I sleeping with Benny and Chris, and Ben is sleeping by himself. He
Oh,
have his mind. He think I'm die because when he pushed the rope back,
It was
the rope is
cut.
just cut.
Ooh.
Probably he cries serious, man. His night super hard because he's sleeping in the small raw like super small space to sleeping, no tents, like all night, you know. And but the
Wow.
next day, everybody together keep it going, and we still surviving, and really nice.
Whew.
Barryman River have in 10 days you have a everyday interesting story like that. We can do one podcast just for Barryman River. It's crazy.
Wow.
And I
That's
hope
wild.
the new generation found a good way to explore Papua New Guinea. No like exactly us, please. Doing something more smart, but found a way to paddling more classic to help the place also because there's a lot of challenges right there and the environmental need the kayakers and the tourism to to help the preservation to grow the mentality, you know. And I hope the next generation, the new generation now found a way to go paddling in Papua New Guinea because the views, how beautiful that place,
Hmm.
no place like that in all over the world. I think the most iconic for me
Hmm.
place in the planet, the
That's
memorize
amazing.
my memory is the most special one.
Wow. That's a strong
Yeah.
statement. Yeah.
Let's go
What?
next.
Yeah, right. It's such a big world with so many places.
Yeah.
Um, well, yeah, let's talk a little bit about the waterfall record, though, because you told these three stories, which has me even more amazed that after these things that seemingly are signs that you shouldn't be doing this, you did finally succeed in breaking the waterfall record, and not just breaking it, but by breaking it by quite a bit. You know, everyone was going, oh, 105 feet, 107 feet, 108 feet, and then you came out and did the Salto Bello. Bello, is that how you say it?
Yes. Is I think is 138. No, 129.
128, I believe, is yeah.
28. Yes. Yeah, this is magical and story because you know in that moment you still explore Brazil to found the perfect waterfall and we have a lot experience before the Salto Belo. One example, when you're doing a booth, 20 meters drop, for some reason is very risky because you can broke your back. When you landing like beside, you know, like when you go and you like the shock in your body, and we know the consequence about the position we have to land in. And you remember my story when I'm super young, I train in Olympic jeans.
Yeah,
Olympic jeans. I
the
don't know what
gymnastics, is that what you're saying when you were
gymnastic
young? Uh-huh.
exactly. In the beginning, I have a this ability about gymnastic, and in one moment, one of the waterfall, I start upside down when I have a doing a how do you say when you're doing a mortal with a flip
Oh, front flip.
front
Uh-huh.
flip and I have in mind and I have this protection in my body. I use a protection for my body used for like F1 or car speeds for
For
protection
Formula
your
One racing, yeah, the kind of
yeah
stuff they
protection
wear.
in here yeah. And I think for the best way I can doing for some reason I lose the control. I can do a front flip. This is one of the things, an interesting story. I have this
Oh,
in my mind, the plan B.
hmm.
But the most interesting is when we here in Brasilia, in the capital of Brazil, we decide go to Mato Grosso. I tell Ben, my intuition say to us go north. There have a big rivers, and there probably we found our goal. And then 10 days before Salto Bello, I have a dream with Salto Bello. Exactly.
Whoa, no way.
I'm there in the dreams, and I have this crazy dream. I'm dropping the waterfall, and I'm go to behind the waterfall. It's not to go to front. And I have that interesting dream. And we keep driving. In that moment, something come in my mind like, let's clear my to a message is like clean my soul and I stop eat meat. I stop drinking alcohol. I stop to go to the nightclubs with Ben because Ben loved the parties in Brazil and all this experience with friends, with Brazilian women. And I stop all this like alcohol,
Mm.
meat. I just eat super healthy, sleeping very early, and I feel like something. That's because I tell you our heart, our stomach have something super smart, and I start cleaning my soul about my habits and every day sleeping early, very healthy, no alcohol. When I start be, this is my personal story. I just share with you guys. Everybody have a different story. This is my personal. I just ask permission to tell you guys and share all with you peoples about. For me, when you're doing like this process, you have your spirit in line, your soul in line, and I have that intuition, and I stop, have this different type of habits every day, and a day before Salto Belo, we did the Salto das Nuvens in Tangará da Serra, where Ben and Chris drop in Salto das Nuvens is amazing and beautiful drop. And we did it with Nora. Nora did in the last this year, in the beginning of this
Yep.
year,
Hmm.
and she here with me, and he did the only woman or the band, Chris and I, now her, just four people did the Salto das Nuvens. It's a perfect drop. More
Right.
kayakers can do that.
Mm.
But before Salto Belo, we did this Salto das Nuvens, and the next day, a guy show us the Salto Belo picture and tell us, you guys found the place. And I have this dream in memory, and we drive many hours to there. And when I arrived there, we stop our car beside of the waterfall. Salto Belo is very easy access. You can stop your car like
Hmm.
10 meters from the
Right
drop.
there. Oh, cool.
And I dropped from there. I walked from the car outside of the car. I saw the waterfall. I decided I go. I found it. Today is the
Wow.
day. I have that feeling. In
Everything was lining up for you. It felt
10
right.
minutes, I go. But in
Wow.
that moment, I start be super excited and say, oh, I just have to follow the process, respect the time, and we start doing the scouting more slowly because you know not respect. Like you're never doing just for when you're super excited. Try to go slow just to guarantee you have all in line. And one of the interesting moments because the tribe coming, the all the indigenous start to coming to see us,
Mm.
and one of the guys he just sit on top of my kayak and see he my movement to pass by and scouting, and he tell me, ask me, hey, you go drop there, you die. See, and that time, but he's
Wow.
very funny, he's funny, like the way he's tell me this just give
Yeah.
me a confidence. He's the way he tell me, say, oh, now I go, now I'm go. And I decide to go there. Ben is a super best partner in kayak ever for me, and Chris go below the waterfall. He go in the bottom of the waterfall, and we have just like 5 people's working that day, and I put the camera for record by myself. I put the camera in the tripod for recording, and I walk to the kayaking, and I start paddling in the first try. I start paddling, and when I align to the direction of the waterfall, I have all this scouting. I know the waves. Know the position, but for some reason I have a bad feeling in that first try. I just stop
Oh, really?
in the border,
Hmm.
and I think a little bit more. I think a lot in my son. And the second time, I feel super confident. The light, the atmosphere, my mind. I not fear the silence coming. I don't know what's happening with us. Just the silence,
Hmm.
nothing in mind, no consequence, no like bad. All my traumas, all the things I have in mind is super clear, like silence. And I start paddling. uh, I think I have too much speed, in the entrance, and I saw the bottom of the waterfall. Feel that's the process about front flip. I
Mm-hmm.
just put my head near of my near my the kayaking, and I have this my in my mind account like 3, 2, 1, because it we calculate 2.9 seconds, 100, 115 kilometers per hour, and I have to prepare my mind for 2.9 seconds.
Mm.
And when it's three, I have to contract my body and close my body. That put the most powerful I can do it. Yeah, after the drop, the current sending me to behind the waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
My skirt is open, not completely, but and I have a lot of
Mm.
water, and I'm very lucky because the Salto Belo is there. Please, all kayakers all over the world coming to visit in Mato Grosso.
Mm.
For me, it's like a Hawaii for surfing. The water is super clear. The tribe
Mm.
is very friendly right now. Many
Mm.
rivers to explore. And when you guys, all the kayakers, all everybody going to visiting, behind the Salto Belo, have this massive cave, 40 meters high, super deep, and like a beach, rock beach is a
Really?
very the water sending you to like a ocean and the beach,
Huh.
sending me to the rocks, and I coming back my paddle. I have a AT paddle in that time. The paddle is broke because it's shocking the kayaking. I
Yeah.
have a shock in my face. I have a I'm lucky. I choose the full face in that time
Mm.
because I am locked down. I don't have a full face,
Mm.
and I'm behind the waterfall. When I push my kayak with water outside, I look to the waterfall. I don't know if this cave is like that. And the sun is at 2:30 p.m. The sun have a perfect line straight like in front of me, and I'm confused like that. I'm die, where I am, because the view is this cave, the
Another world.
water, sun, and I feel like, oh, I'm in the when you go after that you go to the go to the sky. What
Go
the
to
name?
heaven. Yeah.
I'm in the heaven
Yeah.
there, but for a few seconds, sorry, I'm confused for a few seconds, and I looked at view, say, what a beautiful place, and I start pushing my kayak to the rocks, and I start walking with my kayak in the back, and I saw a first snake
Oh
calling
wow.
anaconda, and I looked at
Really?
anacondas really, and the snakes input your babies there because a lot birds die
Ah,
there, and I
it's
have
a
a food.
protected place.
Exactly. And I saw the first snake, and I start walking another direction. I saw the second snake, and
Whoa.
I start making nervous. I start walking another direction. When I saw the next snakes, like three snakes in the same place, in that moment I'm in fear. I like, fuck, snakes here. And I see that, say, oh, be calm, because we not nothing happened in the waterfall. Please, nothing happened here now. Is this with the snakes? And I just be relaxed. I sit there in the amazing place. In a few minutes after, I'm disappear for 10 minutes. This is, I think, the guy is very nervous in the front because imagine we drop and disappear,
Yeah, sure.
and Chris coming and he walking behind, and I met Chris, and we celebrate that moment because doesn't matter. It's not for me. It's not about road record. We cannot use the word. I just broke the limits. That's my
Mm.
goal.
Mm.
We push forward the limits of the sports.
Mm.
In that moment, I know we have a voice to protection the waterfall.
Mm.
People can listen me, listen Ben, listen Brad, listen Rush, and say, "Oh, these guys know this is not crazy. This is possible." And we represent the waterfalls, and we driving back in this amazing day, like that sensation. I think the same sensation all the when the athletes win the competition. You know, when you train in many years, we active your dream. I have that sensation about having our name because I'm not by myself. Ben is the main guy about that story.
Hmm.
Chris there with us all the time. He's the most gentleman guy I ever see.
Hmm.
Chris, super. You know, this is the we achieved something in group. That's my sensation.
Hmm.
And also we celebrate just for 3 months because Tyler did his Palusi,
Yeah.
and it's still this is the limit, you know. And now I know about all these years. Now I study a lot the waterfall functions. I did a research to prove the waterfall functions in the planet, like
Hmm.
real proof, and explain to the research peoples and to try to implement how important is the waterfalls in our ecosystem.
Hmm.
And Salto Bello give me that voice. I think this is the must thing I active in that moment. And now we still tell that story, and we have a possibility. In that moment, I try also, Kevin, to I think the athletes now is more technicals, you know. The
Yeah.
techniques you have right now, the mentality is good, like 20 meters, 20, 30 meters is super fine. Maybe not, we don't have to do something bigger, but in my career, I have a really good moments in Nazareth with Garrett McNamara, the first guy surfing
Oh,
Nazareth in
yeah.
Portugal. And also, I like that word about found the limits and stud. And in my opinion, 60 meters is the limit because the physical. After this, you have to create another type of equipment,
Hmm.
and you
Tell me
still
about
there.
that.
You found the limit. I think that's making me excited. You know, that's
What
my
is the
keeps my
thing?
goal.
Yeah, that's super interesting. What is the thing that gives? Like what is the is it the human body that can't withstand the force? Or like what is it that is the problem when you get beyond that 60-meter mark?
I think is speed. You know, because imagine how fast the end of the waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter what's happened, your position and just the normal equipment, helmet, life jackets, and kayaking. I think you have to create more equipments for
Mm,
protection. You
I
have to
see.
go to the next level, and how fast you go in the water, how size of the boil. You know, because the
Mm,
boil for me is everything. That point,
yeah.
when you found the perfect waterfall and have that size, I have a amazing experience in the Cayeteru Falls in Guyana Inglesa. Cayeteru Falls in Guyana here in South America.
Mm,
That waterfall have a 230 meters,
whoa.
200, but it's perfect and have a boil there. The water goes super powerful. When I'm there in Cayeteru, I this make my mind open my mind about distance and speed. But now I think you have to combine too many things in one. Your soul, your goals, the equipment, how power your body, your technique is, and the synergy with the place. You know, we have to combine too many points, and I've tried to do that for the last 10 years. Every year I'm there in Ucharichi. Every year for months I'm there, stud to the side. And finally, Noria arrived here and traveling with me. She's the most amazing woman kayaker or human person. She's a journalist. She's scientist. She's a amazing person,
Mm-hmm.
and she one of the first things she tell me when she's arrived, she say, Pedro, you know, I want to be in the control about everything.
Hmm.
And I smiling, and in my mind coming, I don't like being in control about nothing. I like just, I'm opposite.
Opposites. Total opposites.
And in that time, I drive in the car. After 10 minutes, I just stop the car and ask, Nora, you want to drive in? Because she want to be in control. She can drive in. And every day in the morning, I ask her, Nora, what do you want to do? Because she now is my hero. She's my a woman hero. She's my example, and we have 10 days together here,
Hmm.
and she scouts Salto Bello for half hour and say, Pedro, let's get out of here. No, you want let's you no, I don't want to do that. It's not gonna control. It's
Really?
you know, it's too it's vertical. The entrance is too
Yeah,
vertical.
it's too square, right? Like it's a square lip.
It's square lab. She's
Yeah.
very smart and technical. Tell me things. Oh, probably somebody tell me before that. I'm not dropping, but now and the next day we arrive in the Uchariti Falls and a 59 meters fall. I'm super I have a lot of focus in there. For me, I can spend every my a year there, and she there with me for 2 days and say, Pedro, I think this is not like kayak, the type of kayak I look for, and let's do next. And we paddling below the waterfall to downriver. You have a lot of fun because the Papagayo River is the fun. It's like class 3, 4,
Hmm.
big waves.
Hmm.
No. And the tribes, you have a lot of fun. And she gave me that perspective. She put bringing me to the earth. I'm too like think and too big and she
Head in the
just
clouds. Yeah.
had the cloud she'd bring me in the earth say, oh Pedro, this is maybe we don't need that. For me, I don't need that. I need like
Yeah.
100 and doing perfect, doing super technical. She teaching me a lot of things, technical new things, and now that's my page right now, my stage. I still like the mentality about Nazareth, like 100 foot waves,
Yeah.
because the record in the waves now is 100. For waterfall is 200.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But let's keep going talking about that because you never know. I just worry about the next generation. Be safe. Put your focus in like you have to follow intuition, instinct. Please, people, not die, not do something. Use the best equipment. Make the most safe stuff in the river. Work together. No, bring your ego to the river. Because sometimes it's like a car accident, something happen, but
Yeah.
let's try to reduce this risk maximum you can, because in the end we want to be together for years and years and be older healthy. I try to pass that message. I know everybody know his own line in life, and I
Hmm.
just want to say my message. I love all the kayakers. I respect all this community, and I have a plain admiration, and I want to see nobody puts yourself in risk too much. But this is a part of our soul. We like challenge, we like broke the limits, but let's keep it going, study this in the best way.
Yeah, it's such a careful balance there, isn't it? But that's a great message to hear from you, who's someone that did decide to push the limits at one point in your life, but you're reflecting on it. And I love that message too. That like I didn't do it to break the world record. That wasn't my goal. I wanted the voice. I wanted to share it with the community. I think
Yeah,
that's a really powerful message to convey.
yeah, this is most important. And now Aniel Noria is for me is a good example for that. And I want to help that generation to be healthy when he's older, because imagine all these people, all these kayakers when he's like 50, 60, 70 years old. Our stories is amazing. We can tell our stories for rest of our life. We visit all the planet. We can work, help all the government, the university, You know, our story is very unique, and
Mm,
we have to be alive to tell our stories. You know, I think this is most important, and also help the environmental. I think we
mhm.
are soldiers to protection the environmental. We have a lot of information. Everybody's super smart. We
Mhm.
understand the rivers like nobody know the rivers like the kayakers, you know, and
Yeah,
we have to use that to save our waters, our water in the planet,
yeah,
and that's when
I
you
love
have to
that.
be alive for that, huh?
This is true. Yeah, I love that though. That there are ways to give back. There are ways to use your experiences to make the world a better place. That's really cool. Did you feel like that? I think your notoriety, as I kind of said in the intro, from the expeditions you've done, from the waterfall record and everything, translated into becoming part of this Brazilian TV show,
Yeah.
the kayak. Like, did you feel like that was yeah, I mean, tell me about it. But was that a source for you to spread the kind of messages you wanted to about protecting the rivers and things like that, or what was the nature of the show?
Yes, that story about this TV show for us is very special because when Ben arrived in Brazil, we have just few sponsors, few brands help us to make a film for a kayak community. And then Ben have a camera, a small camera, it's a GoPro one, and we have no money to traveling. You know, we just have a one car, small car with five kayakers inside, kayaks on the top, food. We sleeping in the gas stations, we sleeping in the floor and in the friends' houses. Have just food and energy to go anywhere, to everywhere, and after the second year when we have a more that explosion and the Chris is a beautiful guy, Ben is very smart, I'm the Brazilian, that combo about three of us, one Brazilian, two Americans, this mix make like a nice soup, you know, like
Mm.
we make
Hmm.
a nice group. Few years before that, I make a short movie, and I paddling in the Chiete River. Chiete River is the river in the middle of the São Paulo capital. In that
Okay.
year, super dirty, and
Mm.
I paddling there and make something in YouTube, for YouTube. And one guy from the most popular channel, TV channel in Brazil, he watching that story in the Chiete River, and he called me and said, Pedro, I want to meet you because I think you can make a TV show with kayaking.
Wow.
And arrived there by myself, and he looked to me and say, oh, you can bring your friends because I think more interesting, you know.
Mm.
And also, I think I'm not beautiful enough, or something like that. And he say, "Oh, the Americans, I think you make more interesting." Of course, I need that. I'm not compelling to, by myself. We need minimum three persons in the river. This is the for safe. This is the obligatory. You need two, three. And then he's telling me, "Okay, invite your friends." And we make a short film just to present our team.
Hmm.
And in the first year, Natura Kayak is the one a big company in Brazil producing a lot of stuff, perfume and natural shampoo, make a lot nice stuff. The mentality of that company is amazing, and that company have a perfume called Kayaki,
Ah,
you know,
perfect.
and the TV show to that factory, and the factory say, I want to sponsor that show because I have a product calling the same name. Let's put the name in the show like Kayaki. And the kayak perfume is a nice product because for outdoor sports, you know, that lifestyle. And in that moment, our our eyes like coming like to the clowns, our minds, because the money the TV have to help us for traveling, like in the first trip we have a $4,000. For the first TV shows you have a 50,000.
Wow.
And you know, is for
The,
us is a
the
lot of
things you
money. You
could
can travel
do.
in
Yeah. That's
Yeah, and
amazing.
we travel in 5 countries with the budget, in our style, and we create a new system to producing 13 episodes in one trip. With before this, the TV produced with that budget 3 episodes,
Really?
but in our style, Ben
You can do
crazy
it cheap.
style,
Yeah.
doing cheap, sleeping in the forest, not spend money, try to save money for us, and
Yeah.
that kayak
Of
life is
course.
super simple, and we create that trip about traveling 16 days, like 2 months and a half, 2 months, and traveling in 5 countries, and realize our dreams because the producers say, where you guys want to go? Ben, bring the map, say, oh, we can go wherever we want. We have tickets and a black card and kayaking, and we starting visiting all these places, every place, North Pole and South. We're doing all South America, do Asia, and
Hmm.
you're doing like all these trips. And for us is the way to realize our dreams. It's not like you wanna be famous, you wanna just doing our
Yeah.
activity, our environmental goals, traveling, and our show. What say in English when you have our show for a long time or for a period, you have a more audience. We have the record of
Yeah. Like
audience.
a hit show, I think is
Head
what you'd
show,
say. Yeah.
just because our show is true. No cameras.
Wow.
We are the cameras. We are reality.
Uh,
We talking to the cameras natural. We work together, and
huh.
our show for one time is the number one.
No
Grow,
way.
grow.
The
You
number
know,
one, the number one most popular show in Brazil.
in that kind of off for one period, you have a more
Yeah.
audience, and you go to the first is when you have a cable channel, and after the TV invited us to go open channel, the most popular one, and the Sunday in the middle day in the TV, the all Brazil watching TV. We are there in the TV,
Wow.
and that's the moment when kayaking grow here because people's
Wow.
watching kayaking, knows that kayaking in the rivers and the waterfall is possible, and a lot people inspiring a lot peoples, and now you have like 1,000 kayakers in the river. This
Hmm.
is the very beautiful consequence Ben, Chris, and I have. We start the more popular, and we activity that you're traveling a lot. We make the kayaking popular in the rivers, and
Hmm.
now every place you have a kayakers, people's work for clean the rivers.
Hmm.
This is the one good consequence. We are soldiers now.
People see the value in the rivers now that they
The
didn't see
body-
before.
and the society start to look to the river, say, "Oh, we have to clean the rivers." The rivers is our blonde. When I ask to people, "Where's the river? The rivers?" People say, "I don't know." In your body. 70% of your body
Hmm.
is water. You
Mm-hmm.
drink water from the river. Imagine, and you send all the trash from the city to the river. No make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in South America, in Asia, people keep going and doing like that, and it's stupid because that water is part out is in my brain, is in my heart, in my blood. 7% of our body is water. We drink water from the river. And kayaking is the more intimate, more the connection we have is the most special connection we have is a kayaking because we can paddling in the rapids, in the caves, in the canyons, and the TV shows give us that. We traveling a lot, like all year for few years, and you have that condition about have a budget. This helping a lot, to make our dreams real. Ben have always solutions for make this trip cheap. Imagine North Pole is very expensive to go
Yeah,
there, but
I'll
you
bet.
sailing boat into there, and you activate our goals and more the goals. We activate our mission. Sorry, I just give an example, because I know everybody, many countries and peoples have different gods. But when I tell God is something bigger, I say we activate our mission, like a mission in life. Ben and I just make these rivers, open all these rivers in Brazil, make this sport popular, and invited people to protection the rivers and save the waterfalls. I think this is the most beautiful consequence you have. Also, I'd spend all my life in that sports. I buy things I needed to. I have a super simple life. I don't have a house. I have just a trailer in one car. I still traveling. I like this simple life. I
Hmm.
make me feel nice. Of course, you have to make a balance, but the kayak TV show, responsored by Kayak Natura, is a very special moment in our life. We producing 113 episodes.
Wow, that's
This
amazing.
is a lot, huh?
That is a
And
lot.
this is a lot. Like,
Over how many years was that?
is around 6 seasons. Is
Okay.
around 8 years straight.
Oh wow.
And the most interesting thing, the TV show is still having our episode now in the TV. You can watch it because every weekend 2 or 3 episodes in there, and I sometimes people print me a page from the TV. Pedro, you in the TV again, and it's still the episode you look like a new. Imagine the quality. We do this something very special. 15 years later, it's still in the TV with the new shows,
That's
and that
amazing.
yeah, that Ben is very special in that. And he guided us to the most beautiful place in the planet. It's still, example, in Antarctica. No stories more there. Aniel just arrived last year, and in Svalbard. Salto Belo is just the only one person. Anaconda Falls, just he and Rafa Ortiz.
Hmm.
Noria just is one four kayakers do the Salto das Nuvens. Is very special that for me. This is the I called Ben last a few months ago. Sometimes we support one another because we're not happy all the time. Sometimes we're very sad,
Of course.
difficult times in life. I just call him and say, Ben, imagine still people's not doing what you did. We did it 15 years ago. This is very special. And if you, oh yeah, oh it's real. It's not for your ego, man. Just feel important person to keep it going
It's pretty
and help
incredible.
the next generation. 116 episodes. It's, it's crazy. It's a band. Always about band.
It really highlights what incredible things he's able to accomplish and how big he dreams with some of these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we put our mission life with our sport goals. And this mix give the universe give you, oh, you guys have your spirit in line, you have a real goals, how do you say? Proposito. Propose. Oh, I found here and translator. When you have a proposito, calling in English, purpose.
Mm,
Is that
hmm.
how do you say in English?
Yeah, life purpose. Yeah.
Life purpose.
Hmm.
When you have this in line, our our purpose is rivers, is not our egos. We don't want to make be a rich with the TV shows. We want active peoples, and when you align that, I think the universe give to you. Otherwise, something wrong.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
you
That's a cool
understand.
message. I do understand. And I think you even
Yeah,
see that with a lot of people who become famous, but then you see that they're not happy in life, that
yeah,
they fall into drug addictions and other kinds of problems. And even though they've achieved this fame that and financial success, they they're unhappy, and I think it's because they don't have that aligned with their life purpose,
The
right?
purpose, exactly. When
Yeah.
and then and when you have this in a line, the life makes sense, and you have good friends around you, your family, all the. One example, the brains response for me when I'm in the TV show and peak of my career is to work with me because he like my goals in life, you
Hmm.
know. So every I have the same responses now for Tula is 10 years, Mitsubishi for 14 years,
Oh wow, big
HB
sponsor.
is like 13 years. I have
Hmm.
exactly the same partners for the beginning of my life. I never changed it. I'm
Wow.
still friends. For some reason, sometimes we stop work for a year, and the next year the guy say, "What do you want to do?" Okay, let's go. you know Now is environmental projects, now is a tribes, now clean rivers, now is teaching kids. And when you do stuff like that, people's giving you love back. And
Yeah.
when you have a love back, your energy grow, because you never feel alone. Yeah, that's because I serious want promote that message for everybody, because our world now for me have is a good moment for make peace, friendly, and work together. The of course have a bad news, not look to that, do something good in your street, in your house, for your friend, in your sport, because it is a light times, is a time to the conscience, and everything coming better. In Brazil is very hard to traveling here. The many cities look like a collapse 10 years ago,
Hmm.
and everything here in Brazil is better now.
Hmm.
Doesn't matter what you can see in the news. When you come and arrive in Brazil, the river's better, the the streets, the mentality, everything is better. I not
Hmm.
can look open the news and see wars and bad things. No, it's opposite.
Hmm.
Every place look better right now, and
Hmm.
I think our minds about technology, about phones, about everything. Just use that in a good way.
Hmm.
Every day, I bring my phone. Before I start with my phone, I ask myself, what my intention here?
Hmm.
My
Wow.
intention is good. Okay, open Instagram, doing something nice.
Wow.
My intention to call that person is it good? Okay, call to the person. What my intention? Your intention is good. Move forward.
Huh.
Your intention is not you interested in something is not make your soul nice.
Don't do it.
Doing.
That's a
Stop it
that's
and go. You
that's a
know.
beautiful, beautiful discipline. If we all could follow that, ask our what's our intention, is it good or not, we would have such richer lives, I think. And I like
Yeah,
that
and then
message. Like that message too of like, yeah, there's bad things. There's bad things about technology. There's bad things in the world, but let's look at everything as a whole and how can we make it better? How that's really a beautiful, optimistic point of view. And hey, I mean, if it wasn't for our computers and technology and phones, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We wouldn't be able to share it on
yeah,
podcasts. So what a great thing that we can use that for to
yeah,
communicate better and become more connected. So I
it's
love your
amazing.
message. Yeah.
Technology is amazing. How do you say? Um, Everybody talking about that right now, and smart intelligence. How do you say?
Artificial intelligence.
Yes, man. This is now you can use this for make people free. You don't have to work like when uh, slaves. Before we were slaves, many jobs looks like slaves. You can use that make people free. Of course, everything in the planet, like a volcano. I learned this in Hawaii when I paddling in the lava falls there. It's an amazing moment in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that lava falls is a low frequency, have energy over there. Waterfalls in the forest is high frequency, it's clear
Mm.
energy. But we need the volcanoes. Volcano create the atmosphere. Volcano
Mm-hmm.
give us the oxygen. Volcanoes is the beginning of the planet.
Yeah.
Of course, the all this technology we can use to do bad things, but also you can use for many good things, and that's our you can choose that way right now, and our intention and the consequence is very nice. When you have a good intention, you sleeping good. When you have a good intention, you have a good friends. When you have a good intention, you older. Some for some reason not have a lot of money, no money, but you happy.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Choose the good intention and not depressed, not feel bad, make good things, and put your name in the good page and the story. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? I think this is kayaking, traveling, teaching me that. Kayaking teaching me to respect every culture. Kayaking
Mm-hmm.
teaching me to respect every religion. Kayaking teaching me to respect every piece of life in the planet, bad and good, because you know when we respect, the universe give you back. That because I'm super excited, I can't stop talking here now, because I'm excited to share all these good things. Many good things happening with me that weekend in the consequence of the day, how I'm dedicated to doing good things in life. And every person have a challenge. The most part of people I know have a challenge inside his own family, but this is our challenge. And you know, Kevin, I think I have one last message here
Mm-hmm.
is about when everybody have his own life and his timeline life. Never, never com- compare English compare. This is the word.
Yeah. Compare.
No, compare your life with another person,
Mm.
because some reason your life is bad today, but for your learning, and in 10 years your life is good. It may
Mm.
be that people life is bad because his time life. And the way to you feel good, feel success, feel grateful is understand you everybody's very unique, special, not compare with another life, not look to the another people's, because this creates a frustrate sensation. And when you admire, admiração, que é em português, admiration, when you have admiration of another people, inspire you. Try to admiration peoples. And when I saw another kayakers, every the best kayakers in the world right now, everyone I saw admiration, and this inspired me to keep going kayaking.
Mm.
I'm not in kayaking that level anymore, but I'm still happy to go
Be
paddling
part of that. Yeah.
and not compare with another. I think is one of the element, the secret of happiness. You know, for you coming happy in your life. I think this is my way to finish that conversation. Maybe you can talk just our last part of our new goals or something like that. But about philosophy and kayaking and my message, I think this is the way I choose to say admiration, admiration inspiring you, you know, and choose your intentions, good intentions. And I more and then you know, we can talk more about kayaking, waterfalls, but kayaking in the end teaching me that. The world
Yeah.
teaching me that. Traveling teaching me that, and I'm super happy and emotional to share this word with you guys, and I'm super grateful of the with all the kayaking community, all the kayakers, Jackson and Ben and all the others brains all over the world, because we put a lot of patience in that, and let's keep going.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Pedro. That's a beautiful message. And I think it's so true. You hear it time and time again that it's not just about the kayaking, it's not just about running the rapids. Those are fun, those are good, but they create something in you, and they build strength and knowledge and understanding of the world that is really kind of the powerful thing about the adventure in life.
Yeah, kayaking is the best tool to traveling. Open a lot of doors, and the consequence. And when you are old, and now I'm near of the middle life. And this make me another step in, and I just wanna share that mission with the new ones to guarantee for you guys have a good story and work together for something special. And kayaki, our we are part of with one team, and we are together in that. And Kevin, you asking me about goals and another goals.
Mm-hmm.
And no,
Yeah.
I feel 100% right now with you here. Thank you so much. You are beautiful. And then, you are in the podcast. Probably people just have our voice, but I see you here in the camera right now. I see in your eyes how pure you are, how simple you are, how special your person. Thank you so much for. I feel like I make one of best friends in life right now. Thank you so much for this special moment. Depending, for me, doesn't matter what's happening next. For me now, I feel like full tank, complete. That's my sensation. After I don't know for how long, 1 hour, I lose the time here, but I feel like super special. Thanks so much for
Yeah.
everybody listening us here. I'm very grateful. Thank you for the kayak community. Thank for all the people all over the world receive me, open the doors, open the house, give me food, give me a chance to learn. And after 56 countries, 7 continents, 25 around 10, 26, 7, I don't know exactly, but more than 25 years in the rivers. I have just this goal in my life right now to clean the rivers and bring peoples to the river and flip the cities because many cities give it back to the river. Building your houses and the front is the street and the river is in the behind. And now is the time for South America, Asia, and in many countries just look to the river and create system to make the rivers clean, the plant trees behind the rivers, create a forest in the cities, recycle things and make our life real sustainable because we can create rain, you can create a good temperature where you have a trees, when you choose a good food, when you choose a good intention, when you choose use a different sustainable things like cars, computers, and all this stuff. The technology give us the choice to choose right now, and let's work in that. And my goal now is in this year I work in few projects here. I just come back from the tribes in a very successful mission there where we create the tourism there with for people's go to buy tribes. When you visit in the tribes, it's very special because the tourism by the culture, by the food, the traditional food, by the dance, and the tourism is the way to save the tribes in Brazil. I dedicate a lot time in that, and also now I just come back for São Paulo for work in the cities to help the public system, the government, to create spaces for invited the society to go to the river, to go kayaking, create entrance, take in, take out, but in the rivers where we have cities. This is my goal now. Today is Sunday. Now in Brazil is like 5:30. I work today from 6 a.m. This is my. I have around 90 meetings today in the Sunday. It just talking about the rivers. Many people's interested in that. That's my thermometer to say the population, the society now work for create a better world, and that's my goal right now. make part of this story, and I work in a few projects around that with a lot of energy. And I'm lucky I have a kayaking life, because otherwise I tell you, when I'm super young and my mom seems super crazy, and kayaking coming perfect in my life. And all the trips I have all over the world help me to convince and explain and teaching peoples to create these farms and system to bring peoples to the river. And that's as I think that's as my goal in the moment. And I live my best every day, because when you live in your best in the day, probably something happen the next day. And yeah, I think this is our last question here about our goals. And I feel
Yeah.
I hope you happy in the end of our conversation.
No, this was wonderful, Pedro, and I appreciate your kind words. I appreciate your insight and appreciate what you're doing. That's a beautiful message. I'll tack on one question. If people are interested in traveling to Brazil to kayak or to help out with any of the conservation efforts or anything like that, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah,
Find
we
out more
lucky right now
information.
because Brazil is in the good moment for traveling. In Mato Grosso, for me, is the best place for paddling. We have to arrive in Cuiabá. In Cuiabá, near Cuiabá, do you have a few groups of kayakers? You can find the guys in Jaciara is one of the places you have a good peoples. And awesome for me, the epicenter for me now is Campo Novo do Parecis, you know. And now the roads here is good. You have just to prepare your maps, checking where you go. This place where when you start in Cuiabá and go to Campo Novo, where we have a Sacre, Salto Belo. Around that, you have many rivers. You guys, somebody is interested in that, just send me message in an Instagram, or or by found me in the special. I think it's easy Instagram. My Instagram is at Pedro Oliva Kayak. And we have a lot of peoples now here can help another kayakers, super open to receive people from outside of Brazil. And we have just my suggestion is save a little money to rental or found a sponsor for have a nice car or a good car, because the distance here is
Mm.
so far, like 5 hours driving is like nothing. And you can invest in that for have a comfortable and safe car.
Okay.
And
You'll be
driving,
doing
because
driving, a lot of driving.
for
Yeah.
me, Mato Grosso, I love Hawaii. I'm there a few times, and I compare for Hawaii surfing, Mato Grosso in Brazil, like Hawaii for kayaking. And also, not just for fun, you can
Mm.
come in here and help the tribes, because when you here and you come in, say, oh, I want to eat the traditional food, I want to make fire with you guys in the night, I want to dance in the traditional dance, I want sleeping in the traditional house, you help a lot to do the tribes reconstruction
Mm.
his culture, because he lose a lot. And the kayaking and all this kayak tripping now is the best tool to help the tribes. Please come into Brazil in the best way. Brazil is safe, so much better compared 10 years ago, so much better when I start paddling, for traveling, for rental cars, for the tribes is very opening right now, and just coming and help Brazil, because when you're here, you're just coming for a special, like a social moment, social project. And now I invited. Thank you
Hmm.
for opening that space to promote Brazil, and also a lot of kayakers here can help. Very excited, because when one example, person coming from America, United States, teaching a lot of things to the Brazilian, because Europe, United States in the first class about equipments, about techniques, and when these guys coming to here, teaching and help a lot, and that's because I tell you, thank you for help to promote Brazil. A lot kayakers here is very open and wait and wait for help the visitors. And Brazil is I think need that right now, more kayakers here to push our sport forward.
Yeah. Well, that's great. It sounds like it could be a potentially a very great opportunity both ways for people visiting and for the people in Brazil. So let's
Yeah.
hope we can see more of that. Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Pedro. I really appreciate the time with you, and I feel lucky to have been able to spend this time with you, and share it
And
with
let's
everybody
paddling
else.
together someday, huh? And yeah, let's do
That would be awesome.
something
Yeah.
special here. And I have this project called Waterfall Project. The Waterfall Project is work for research for prove the waterfall function. And the next year I go to paddling the river, Paraíba River. Is the second time I do that. It's a 1,136 kilometers, and we paddling for 2 months the same river for
Hmm.
collect data. And maybe you
Oh
can
wow.
help me to promote that and coming here for a few days to paddling with me, and we share all the information we have about the waterfall functions with the rest of the world. And some kayakers interesting to help me help the research, all the people's work in that project right now, for proof and show the waterfall functions to the planet. And that I invited you to come in here,
Hmm.
and we when you in that project, and please come in to help us. And thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much, Kevin.
I'm so grateful to Pedro for taking time out of his busy schedule to share his history and his life experiences and his unique perspective with me. If you're enjoying the podcast, take a minute to give it a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Share it with a friend. Thank you for listening. Until next time.